Are you a divorcing homeowner or someone that's thinking about a divorce? Well, often one of the first questions I hear from someone that is in this situation is who gets to keep the house in a divorce? Well, that's what we're going to cover today. I'm Barbara Woyak, and I am a certified divorce real estate expert. And I find that many divorcing homeowners have lots of questions about their home and other real estate holdings. If that's you, please reach out to me. You can call me, you can text me, email me, however you want to reach me. I am here and available to answer all of your questions. So when it comes to the family home in a divorce, there's often a lot of emotion attached to the home. For one thing, in many cases, the equity in the home represents the majority of the assets that a couple has often accumulated during the time of their marriage. Two, there may be, you've raised your family in the home and there's a lot of memories that are tied to the home. Maybe you have a lot of friends and family in the community that you don't want to lose those bonds with. Or maybe you've invested a lot of time and money into making your home the perfect place for you to live. Well, in a divorce, the family home, as well as personal property and other assets, somehow needs to be divided. Who gets the home depends on you, your spouse, your attorneys, and sometimes even the court. But before we get into that, let me just say that every divorce is different. So often I hear, well, my sister did this, or this happened to my neighbor or my friend. But like I said, every divorce is different, so what happened with them might be totally different depending on your situation. So, who gets the house when there's a divorce? Well, it depends. If you both want the home and neither of you can agree, then this might be something the court is going to decide for you. But more about that later. Now, let's say that you are the one that wants to keep the home. Well, here's some things that you might want to consider before you decide you want to negotiate to keep your home. The first one is what's the value of the home and is there a mortgage? Typically, the spouse that keeps the home will need to do some type of buyout or mortgage refinance to remove the other spouse from the debt obligation. So are you going to be able to qualify for a mortgage if one is needed? A good lender will be able to help you figure this out. And before you spend a whole lot of time, energy, money, and emotional energy, and then find out that for whatever reason you don't qualify, what I want to do is help you find someone that can help you answer that question. It's always good to get an assessment of where you're at before you start down the path of doing negotiation. Next, you're going to want to look at your budget to see if it makes sense for you to keep the home. So in addition to a mortgage payment, there might be other things that are associated with the home that you might want to think about. For example, is there a homeowners association? What are the property taxes? What are your utility costs? As we all know, the summertime in Arizona, it can get very, very hot, so your utility costs are going to be high. Do you have a pool and need pool service? Do you have a landscape service that you need to pay for? So all of these things need to go into your budget. The last thing you want to do is get yourself tied into a home that just is like eating you alive and you're just not able to afford to do anything else because the house is consuming all of the income that you have for you and your family. And another thing that you're going to want to consider is what's the condition of the home. So what's the age of the different components? For example, the air conditioner. If your air conditioner is older and you might need a new one, new air conditioners run as much as $8,000 to $10,000. So is that in your budget? How old is the roof on the house? Is there any deferred maintenance that maybe while you were married you just didn't take care of? So those are all things that once you decide you want to keep the home, those are all going to be 100% your responsibility, and is that something that you can handle? Finally, you're going to want to understand the potential tax consequences of keeping the home. In the past few years, the value of homes has gone up considerably. So, it's not unusual for people to have accumulated $200,000, $300,000, even $400,000 of equity in the last couple of years. The way the IRS works is if you're a single person and you go to sell your home, you can claim up to $250,000 in appreciation before there's a tax liability. But as a couple, there's a $500,000 limit. So if you purchase the home or you take the home on, then you're limited to that $250,000 cap. So you're going to want to check with your tax advisor to make sure that you understand if there might be some sort of tax liability that you would have to assume. So again, if you're looking for a resource that can help you with that, just reach out to me. There's several people that I know that would be able to help you figure out the question or the answer to that question. So what happens if you want to keep the home and for some reason your spouse decides that they just don't want you to have it? Well, then this is something that your attorneys are going to have to work out. Somehow you have to come to a mutual agreement. And if for some reason you can't come to an agreement, then you might have to go to court and the judge is going to decide for you. Often if there's just no agreement, then the judge is going to decide that the home has to be sold. So what happens if your spouse decides that they're the ones that want to keep the house? Well, then what you're definitely going to want to do is make sure that you understand what the current value is of the home so you can negotiate a fair and equitable buyout with them. As I mentioned earlier, every case is different. So I do recommend when it comes to your home, you speak to a certified divorce real estate expert like myself so you really understand what your options are. You want to understand what the pros and the cons of each of those options is so that it can make sense for you and your current situation, both in the short term and in the long term. If you have other questions about your home, feel free to reach out to me. I'm here to help you. My contact information is below. You can call me, you can text me, you can email me, whichever option is best for you. And I do release new videos every week, so make sure that you hit the subscribe button and then you'll be notified of any new videos as they're posted. And one last thing, if you found this video helpful, please click that like button. It'll help others learn about my videos so that they can get answers too.